Today, the world is entering the most dangerous arms race since the end of the Cold War, because suddenly America found that Russia is advancing in hypersonic missiles and that China is making huge leaps in military artificial intelligence. Therefore, the balance of global power is shifting at a tremendous speed, causing American power to fall to the second or third rank, or even lower than that. Therefore, this pushed America to reveal and announce its secret military programs as quickly as possible. Today we are starting a new phase. We are entering a completely new stage, a new phase, where the power of the state becomes measured by three elements: artificial intelligence, low cost, and massive production capacity. So today in this episode, I'll reveal to you exactly why I'm saying this and why the world is heading toward wars that are unlike anything we've ever known before. And most importantly, what I'll leave for you, dear viewers, is which Islamic power could emerge in this new race. Stay with us. Dear viewers, peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. Welcome to you today in this renewed meeting, God willing, from the series of opinion episodes, dear viewers. Today, this war that is being fought in Ukraine, the emergence of these new missile capabilities with the Russians, along with the appearance of these tremendous technological capabilities with China, this made America sound the alarm, made America race against time to reach technologies that are stronger than what Russia and China have, and so on. Before the beginning of this upcoming major war, it means that America suddenly found itself lagging behind militarily. After dominating the world in terms of military and technological capabilities for decades, ever since the end of World War II, you could say it has been leading the world technologically. Today, it suddenly found itself facing a tremendous development in Chinese capabilities, where at any moment China could declare itself the world's #1 power. Militarily, it now faces major technological advances in the Russian Air Force. Whether it's about the aircraft's capabilities, drones, missile capabilities, sonic differences, and so on. So, the important thing is that this sudden development made America accelerate all its military programs. So, American President Donald Trump, just a few months ago, announced the start of production of the first 6th generation fighter jet, the F-47 today. Everyone knows that the most powerful fighter jets in the world are the ones America has, and the most famous of these are the F-16 and F-35. But now, there is strong talk about a new fighter jet called the F-47. It is said that this jet has a radar signature much lower than 5th generation fighters, meaning it is the most stealthy and the most capable of evading detection. And it is said that it was under testing in America, and it has been flying since 2020, meaning 5 years ago from today, and it has been flying and testing its capabilities in America. But the new thing this time, which was just a few months ago, is that Trump had announced the start of production of these fighter jets. The United States Air Force ordered 200 of this type, the F-47, and will receive them in the coming years. It is said that deliveries of this aircraft will begin in 2030. But these rapidly unfolding international events that the world is witnessing today are bringing the date of the major war closer at an accelerated pace. This has led to calls within America today to speed up the production of this aircraft as soon as possible. But this arms race does not stop here. Just a few days ago, America conducted a test or a trial flight for a new drone called YFQ Fury. Excuse me, when we talk about American drones, we find that America, which was a pioneer at the beginning of this technology, has fallen behind with the emergence of these new powers in this weapon. The drone weapon, like China, like Russia, like Turkey, like Iran, and the information we all have is that the strongest drone America has is the MQ-9. But today, with these new developments and the emergence of these new technologies like artificial intelligence, they have made a new drone and given it this name, YFQ Fury. The strange thing about this aircraft, it came in a totally different way. Why? Because this aircraft originally existed, it was around before 2020, but it had a different use. It was used for training purposes. How is that? This drone, when it was first manufactured, was low cost and was only used to imitate or simulate for enemy forces and potentially during United States Army training exercises. That means this aircraft is launched into the air. It is used to simulate an enemy fighter jet or to simulate a cruise missile attacking America. So the United States Air Force is given the training mission to find and destroy this drone. This training, it gave the United States Air Force realistic training similar to real-life situations, giving the American military high readiness as if they were actually fighting a real war. And all of this was at a very low cost, because before relying on this drone, similar training existed, but it depended on old manned fighter jets like the F-5 and others. And this was costly not just in terms of flight hour expenses, but also maintenance costs, and it also posed risks to the pilot. Therefore, in the last 15 years, Batu stealth fighter technology has emerged. Fifth generation technology is now available to China, like the J-20 aircraft, for example. China possesses them. They're no longer exclusively held by the Americans. Now Russia also has them, like the Sukhoi 57. So America worked on making a change. They changed their training methods in their air force by introducing this drone so it would closely simulate these stealth aircraft that Russia and China have, or cruise missiles and other things like that. So when America wanted to manufacture this drone, at that time it didn't need a long time, because the aircraft is somewhat simple and all the components, whether civilian or military, are available to them and easily accessible, all over the world. So what did they do? What they did was assemble all these components together. So what was important for them? And what else? That it would exactly simulate the enemy's stealth aircraft or the enemy's cruise missiles. So here, pay close attention that this is the primary purpose of making these. The drone. And at that time it was called the Starling Bird. But with the beginning of this war in Ukraine and the major development that drone weaponry has seen, it became clear during this war that it is truly a decisive weapon. This made America come out with the decision that it is necessary to manufacture unmanned fighter jets, drone fighters that fight side by side with manned fighters. That means like the F-16 and F-35, or this new one that's coming, especially the F-47. So the development began to turn this drone into a fighter that carries two air-to-air missiles, meaning it becomes a drone capable of shooting down aircraft, and it becomes capable of fighting autonomously with artificial intelligence, meaning without the need for operators. And here, pay close attention, all this transformation started from this war in Ukraine. Through this war we saw a new and different face of warfare, the kind of war we used to see in movies. We used to think before that it was science fiction, that the world could never reach this level of advancement, but the truth is we lived and saw the same thing, glory be to God. In reality, kamikaze drones chase and attack individuals using only artificial intelligence. Kamikaze unmanned submarines attack ships like frigates and destroyers, and so on, in the same way using artificial intelligence. Kamikaze robotic vehicles also storm forests to chase soldiers with artificial intelligence. And this is just the beginning. Elon Musk said before, if everyone remembers, he said he is capable of creating an army of robots numbering 1 million. Soldiers fighting instead of real soldiers, 1 million robot soldiers. So now, honestly, we are entering the stage of maximum speed in development. Something that used to take 30 years to develop in the past, or 20 years or even more, today is developed in just 1 year. The things we used to see in cartoons, like Grendizer for example, have become reality. Maybe in just a few months we will see other wars being managed at the level of space. The movies we watched in the past, like the film Terminator, now. And speaking of that particular movie, I remember very well the events of the film, which were about artificial intelligence, robots, and time travel. And it was about the year 2029. Pay close attention, it was about the year 2029, and now we are approaching that date, 2029. We have started to see almost the same technologies, so it's really strange. I watched this movie when I was a little kid. Back then we used to say this was just fiction. We used to say this could never happen at all. Maybe today we haven't reached exactly that level yet, but we are getting there very quickly now. What are we experiencing today? We are experiencing a hybrid war, a war that is a mix between the two, between human power and technological power. And just 5 years ago from today, when drones started being used in Syria, in Libya, in the Karabakh war, especially the suicide drones, we used to think that these drones were expensive and could only be used against targets. But this war in Ukraine changed all these concepts, because it turned out that this weapon is used today even against a single soldier. More than that, 5 or 10 drones can be used to kill just one soldier. This means that with a very low cost, they are now being produced in huge quantities. The country that has such factories, meaning the one capable of producing large amounts of them, will be the one keeping up with this development. And for this reason, pay closer attention, we find that Morocco was racing against time just a couple of years ago, rushing to open a factory for producing suicide drones because it plans to own millions of them. Therefore, I'm saying that all Moroccans today who play mobile games like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, flight games, war games, and so on, maybe the Moroccan army will need them one day in the future. Why? To operate these drones by the thousands at the same time, because that's exactly what happened in this war in Ukraine. Russia, whether it's Russia or Ukraine, both of them. They relied on people who are good at mobile games to operate these drones, to control these drones. So the war has evolved tremendously. It's no longer a traditional war like it used to be. Today it's become a hybrid war that combines humans and technology together. But in the near future, it will all be just remotely operated drones. So America has started preparing for this stage. It all began with this drone experiment. The YFQ Fury, which operates with artificial intelligence, means this drone doesn't need an operator. The operator just monitors it remotely and can monitor 8 of these drones at the same time. This drone can move to the combat zone autonomously using artificial intelligence, and it can identify the target autonomously using artificial intelligence. Everything in it operates with artificial intelligence. And what's new this time for the American army is what? Is that it's low cost, and this might be for the first time ever because it's well known in America and in American military industries that everything they have is expensive. But today, the emergence of China with these advanced technologies at a very low cost has made even America look for low-cost solutions. That's why they are developing an existing drone originally used for training to turn it into a fighter, so it won't be expensive. There are statements from officials in the American military saying that the era of expensive weapons, very expensive weapons, is over. That's it. Now we're entering a new era where weapons must be autonomous, smart, and low cost. Now, the American military is planning to buy 1,000 drones of this type. They want them before the start of this major war. This war in Ukraine has changed all the concepts. In fact, now America is moving to produce weapons in very large quantities making sure they are inexpensive and also do not require a human operator. They should be autonomous, meaning powered by artificial intelligence. So now, the global military trend, is clear and well defined. We're talking about autonomous and low-cost weapons and in large quantities. So here, a very important question arises. Which Islamic power could emerge in the coming phase? Which one would have these three characteristics? Capable of producing its own weapons, meaning drones powered by artificial intelligence and able to manufacture them in large quantities and at low cost. Which Islamic power is this? Answer us in the comments below this video.